Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and today I saw a news article that's going to make me rant for a little while. And then I saw another one that makes me truly question just how stupid men can be. And I include myself, obviously, as a stupid male. But in this case, this is really, really dumb. But we'll get to that in a minute. Needless to say, this is going to be a little bit more of a off-the-cuff, not quite a cigar-related podcast. This is going to be more my stream of consciousness and thoughts because this has been a very busy week. Very, very... These short weeks like this, the Monday holidays, they truly throw off my entire week. And just cause me to be so much... I'm so much busier with the Monday holiday weeks than I am without. I hate Monday holidays. They generally do me absolutely no favors because my workload and everything doesn't change, but or my deadlines, I should say, don't change, but my workload does because everything that would have been taken care of on Monday gets shifted to Tuesday, and it just compounds and snowballs. But anyway, that's not your problem. Your problem is you have to listen to me rant about something because I didn't schedule out a guest. But that's okay. I'm working on it. I'm building out the calendar for June. June's going to be nice. It'll be good. But we'll get to all that in a little bit. First, I need to fire up a cigar. And so today I broke into the humidor and I found something nice. I found something I don't smoke on the regular, something that's been sitting there for a while, something I wanted to enjoy. So today I am breaking out the Davidoff Nicaragua Toro. It is 5.5 by 54. There it is. And it features a Cuban seed Nicaraguan rosado wrapper, a Nicaraguan binder from Jalapa, and filler tobacco from Nicaragua from Esteli, Condega, and Ometepe. And so we're going to give this guy a cut and light. And the official cutting is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. It's the number 2guyscigars.com. Two Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows Two Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family-owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and excellent customer service. So please go to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. Put in the little comment box on the order. That way, they know that their ad revenue is going to is working. It's kind of like they got to know. They got to know that it's working. And just remember, that's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar. All right. So yeah. This guy's been chilling in my humidor and got a little bit of age on it. And I'm going to be super careful not to drop this one. I'm still bitter and upset that I dropped that United cigar on the last episode. I don't like wasting cigar. And that pissed me off because I don't even think I hit the halfway point on that thing yet when I did that. What? Anyway. All right, well, now that we got this thing cut, we're going to light it, and that means you guys are going to hear the greatest commercial you've ever heard.
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame.
Well, I don't know, 'cause what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. They say authentic, so we're not confused, while the others say it's a word that's just abused.
I guess that's so. They can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino can't be beat.
Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Cigars uses authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I was asked recently from somebody where that commercial came from. And I figure, for those of you who listen to me and maybe aren't familiar with, there's another podcast called The Cigar Authority. They've been running longer, and some people may say that there are similarities between our two shows. I say that there is absolutely no trademark on dick and fart jokes, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, they made that commercial for their show, and Justo Aroa of Aladino apparently really likes it, and bugged Tremac about getting it onto this show. And so Tremac told me, I asked them, they sent me the file, and bam, now their kazoo ad is playing on 2 shows. So anyway, so if you want more cigar content, if you're not, happy with my rant and you want cigar content, or maybe you want more cigar content when I actually bring you cigar content, consider the Cigar Authority. It's once a week on Saturdays. It's fun. I like it. I listen to it. Anyway, so let's get into this. There's a little bit of spice on this. This is despite being a Nicaraguan Puro, this cigar tends to be it's one of my favorite Davidoffs because it's got a little bit of something to it, but it's still not anything that's going to slit your throat. It's not the strongest Nicaraguan cigar you're ever going to have. It's not, just packed with spice. I mean, there's some peppery spice to it, but it's a Davidoff Nicaragua. That's what you got to remember. So where should I start? Should I start with my rant, my bigger rant, or should I start with how men are stupid? I'm going to start with how men are stupid. And we'll move into the more serious topic. This first topic is a little less serious, but it's still something that I feel needs to be addressed. So for some reason, my news feed has been filled with all sorts of news stories, promoting the fact that actress Sydney Sweeney is apparently releasing a soap through Dr. Squatch. Dr. Squatch is a soap company, and they are apparently releasing 5,000 bars of Sydney Sweeney's Bathwater Bliss. It is a bar of soap that is infused with her own bathwater. She says, fans always joke about wanting my bathwater. I was like, this is such a cool way to give them what they want. And so she has turned her bathwater into soap. It's a limited edition soap. Will be available on June the 6th on drsquatch.com. And guys, are we this pathetically horny that we're going to actually sell out soap infused with a random blonde woman's bathwater? I mean, have some fucking pride, guys. I mean, seriously. I mean, this is pathetic. This is truly pathetic. I every time I think I see the depths, the bottom of the barrel of men and everything, this is where we go. Women criticize us for a lot, and some of it is valid. Some of it I could contend is not, but that's a whole nother discussion. There's lots of things that I think could be criticized, or women could be criticized for, that they aren't. But again, a whole different discussion. But one thing, but don't tee it up for them, guys. Don't make it obvious. Don't make it so don't put it out there on full display. I get it. I saw some pictures related to these soap articles, and she's an attractive female. Yes. But come on. You're buying soap infused with her bathwater? I mean, because if this sells well, Dr. Squatch is totally going to do this with some other, good-looking female. And next thing you know, all these pathetic mouth breathers, that are sitting in their parents' basements, playing their video games and everything else. And trust me, I don't judge somebody for doing that, but have a little pride. Have a little pride in yourself. Don't make it so blatantly, stereotypically obvious that you're just a loser by buying bath soap infused with this woman's used bath water. That's just I don't get it. So for any of you out there in pulpit land and you're thinking about buying this soap, you know what? More power to you. Don't tell me about it, because I will ridicule you unmercifully. I have no pity or mercy for you if you buy this soap, because this is sad. This is absolutely sad. And you know what? I'll admit, every once in a while, when I'm in Target or one of the stores that carries this, I see the Dr. Squatch. They had some Marvel superhero versions, and I looked at it for a minute, but then I thought to myself, no, I'm being pandered to. They're putting Captain America on the front of this soap because they think some nerd like me is going to come along and be like, I want to smell like Captain America. But that's stupid. It's stupid. It's like buying a pair of underwear for a 5-year-old because it's got, SpongeBob on it. I mean, don't be the 5-year-old. Be the adult. Be the adult in the room. Be the adult. You don't need a bar of soap infused with a woman's bath water. Just like I didn't need, and I did not buy the Captain America bath soap. So, now part of that is because I don't use bar soap. I use body wash. I have the loofah, and I scrub and get clean that way. But that's neither here nor there. The point remains. Don't give in to this. We have to draw the line somewhere. Have some pride. We have to draw the line somewhere. We have to prove that we are not just a bunch of mindless, horny robots that will go out and buy bathwater-infused soap. Okay? Please, just please don't do this. If you're remotely thinking about it, if you heard me mention this and you're saying, holy shit, I got to get to Dr. Squatch on June 6th, and I'm not getting paid by Dr. Squatch, so I'm not dropping this date or anything. I'm just doing it for the purpose of the show here. But seriously, it's stupid. Don't do it. Don't encourage this. That is rant number one. That is top of mind rant number one. Now, rant number two. It's a little bit more relevant to the show. So France. France. God damn it, France. You just keep finding ways to surrender. You just roll over and surrender. And by God, this is not one of those times that we're going to be able to roll in and save your ass, because this is you doing it to yourself, and we're fighting our own battles over here on this same subject. So, quite frankly, you're on your own, and you're fucking doing it to yourselves. But France apparently is banning outdoor smoking. France will ban outdoor smoking. And this story comes to you from, I think it was France 24. It was a link that I found on the Drudge Report. France is going to ban outdoor smoking in all outdoor places that can be frequented by children, such as beaches, parks, and bus stops, according to the Health and Family Minister, Catherine Vautrin. Vautrin. V-A-U-T-R-I-N. Vautrin? Whatever. She's French, and she's trying to take away your right to smoke outside. She said in an interview published on Thursday. The restrictions will enter into force on July 1st. So you listeners in France, you have a month. You have 1 month to fire up outside. And it will include all places where children could be, such as, quote, beaches, parks, public gardens, outside of schools, bus stops, and sports venues. Violators could be fined up to 135 euros, which comes out to about $154. Cafe terraces will be excluded from the ban, which also which will also not extend to electronic cigarettes. So, this is it. Now they're telling you can't smoke outside. The fresh air, the beautiful atmosphere where the wind takes away your smoke and doesn't bother anybody. You are now not going to be able to smoke outside in France. And except for cafe terraces, because apparently cafe terraces are different. It's like back in the day when we had the smoking section and the non-smoking section in restaurants. You know, if you sat on that side of the room, the smoke didn't cross the room to come to the other side. You know, it just stayed over there. Or even better on airplanes where you had one side, you know, half and whatever. But the point remains, outside. You can't smoke outside. Now, I know there's some places in the United States that they've also restricted outdoor smoking. Some municipalities have restricted smoking in parks. Florida, there are some beaches where you can't smoke. Cigars were the exception there. You know, there's a lot of restrictions on outdoor smoking and marijuana in a lot of the states that have the recreational marijuana. Not that it seems to friggin' stop the marijuana people. It's like, my God, you go anywhere, you're going to smell that skunk walking by. I know with the Indy 500, we caught that smell a couple of times. You know, shit happens. It's what it is. But again, you're outside. You catch the smell for a hot second, and you move on with life. But apparently in France, that's not the case. In France, they have to litigate, and they have to legislate, and they got to put it all down, and they got to stop you from smoking at beaches and parks and public gardens. Now, look, outside of schools, I don't know if I necessarily have a problem with that, but here's the thing. You're cigar smokers. If you're anything like me, you're courteous enough to realize your situation or your where you're at, your location, and you're not going to be firing up outside of a school. Because if you're sitting outside of a school, you're probably waiting on your kid. And if you're waiting on your kid, you're probably not firing up in the car with your kid anyway. At least I'm not. I don't smoke in the car with my kid. I don't smoke around my kid. You know, when Max is over here, he goes to bed. I come in the garage or I go outside. And I have my cigar at night while he's asleep. If I even have one on the day that I have him, I don't do that around him. That's just one of those things. I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to be doing it outside of a school. And if you are sitting outside of a school and you're not picking up a child, why are you sitting outside of a school? You know? So outside of a school, I really don't have too much of an issue with, but that should be common sense. And quite frankly, I hate it when government tries to legislate common sense. But that's, again, neither here nor there. Bus stops. Who fires up at a bus stop? You know? Cigars take a while. You know? So, like, I don't think anybody's going to be firing up a cigar at a bus stop. Now, obviously, this does apply to cigarettes. And I'm sure some of these, the vast majority of these places, probably they're talking, cigarettes are the bigger issue. But still, bus stops. I don't think that really is a big issue for cigar smokers because unless you're sitting and waiting an hour and a half for your next bus, you're probably not going to get a whole cigar in. And then sports venues. Now, that one kind of depends to me. Because, look, if I go to a baseball game, there's nowhere there for me to smoke. There's places out on the terrace or the concourse, that you can stand, but you're around people. You're constantly around people. I don't feel like a ballpark is probably the best place. Now, I have been to a few racetracks where underneath the bleachers, you know, it's just pretty much open that way. I've seen plenty of guys sitting and smoking cigars underneath the bleachers, waiting to go up to their seats before the race starts. That's the thing. These guys, they get to the race so early, they got time. They sit and they have a cigar, and then they go up to their seats. So, or there's earlier races going on that maybe they get there for, but they don't particularly care about. So they sit and have a cigar while those are going on. Again, I don't really know if I see the problem with that, but whatever. Be that as it may, it is what it is. I've never personally smoked at a racetrack. I guess I could have brought one to the 500 if I wanted to, but, you know, it's a matter of if you have time for it. We probably did before we went up to the seats, but that adds a whole nother level of complication to things. The bottom line is, in some of these cases, at least the school and the bus stops, I don't have a problem, but I don't feel like we should be legislating common sense. The other spots, though, those are problems to me, because what is wrong with going to the park and having a cigar? I can't tell you how many times, while I've been out and about, I grab a lunch, I go to the park, I find a table, sit at a picnic table at the park, I have my lunch, I have my cigar in the park, and then I move on. I clean it, I use my cup, or I bring an ashtray, but I typically use my cup. When I'm done with my drink, I use the cup as the ashtray, and I police up. I don't make any mess, and I'm out there, having my cigar. And I don't feel the need to hide it or be ashamed of it, because it's out in the open. It's the open air. If somebody wants to come directly up to me and interact with me, I'm in the open air. You see me smoking this thing, that's on you. Otherwise, it's not that big of a thing. But, France is doing this, and, that's an issue. And that's something that, quite frankly, all of these cigar companies that have spent the better part of the last, 4 or 5 years, however long it's been now, expanding out into Europe. Hey, guys, you're about to see all these places disappear as viable smoking spots. Can't fire up your Aladino in Paris anymore. You can't fire up your Perdomo, when you're out having wine someplace and everything. I guess unless you're on a cafe terrace. But even then, what cigar? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But, when I do smoke on, patios and things of that nature, I haven't been in Top Shooters in a long, long time. That's something, just to give you guys a little insight there. Their prices went through the roof on food. And, in fact, there was even a period of time where they didn't even have prices on the menu. It was the per day price. It was variable pricing based upon the price of chicken wings and things of that nature. And it got stupid. I mean, look, there's a threshold where I'm willing to tolerate, prices and everything, and they cross that just dramatically, and it just wasn't worth it anymore. So I've stopped going for the most part. But when I was going, if their patio was really full, I didn't have my cigar. I waited until it cleared out, or I went somewhere else. If it's not really full, then I find somewhere away from everybody that I then can fire up and have my cigar. I feel like that's just something that cigar people do. We're courteous about our smoking. Yeah, every once in a while you go online and you see the pictures of the guy standing next to the no smoking sign and he's puffing on his cigar. Personally, I hate those pictures. I think it's kind of, it doesn't help anything. It actually, those are the kind of pictures that just make us all look like douchebags. But be that as it may, I feel like by and large, cigar smokers are courteous people. We're not going to, get in the middle of a big crowd and say, I'm allowed to do this, and just do it. Now, people who vape, not everybody. I mean, I don't want to make a general broad statement here, but I've been around plenty of people who vape who have no problem breaking that thing out in the middle of a crowd, and all of a sudden you get that whiff of chemically strawberry smell or whatever the hell it happens to be, and everything, and you just know, oh, someone just took a hit off their vape. And that's assuming they're even vaping like tobacco, These days, Lord knows what they're vaping, but that's neither here nor there. That's another thing. I find that the pot smokers, they generally don't really give two shits about it either, They will fire up and they will have it, and that'll be that. You're walking down the strip in Las Vegas, you're going to smell weed. It's just a fact of life these days. You go to any major event, any major place, you're going to smell weed because somebody is firing up, and you're going to smell the skunk. But cigars, I feel like, are different. But yet, we just keep getting lumped into this shit, guys. And we got to fight back. We got to fight back, you know? But bringing it all back to the original point, they kicked us out of the buildings. You know, they put the smoking bans into place, and they kicked us out of a bunch of buildings. And I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. I can at least understand the concept. They put so many rules and regulations on the ability to open up cigar lounges. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think that if you're going to open up a place that sells tobacco, you should at least be allowed to smoke there. But, you know, that's government, over-regulate. But now they're coming after the outside. They're literally coming after your atmosphere. And they're just legislating us to death, trying to find ways to get people to stop smoking. And this is just pure government big brother bullshit. And I'm tired of everybody, you know, legislating what's good for you, what's right for you. Because I have just as much right to do stupid shit that could hurt and kill me as I do the right to do good shit that will help me in the long run. You know, I just visited the doctor today. I went in for an initial consult, you know, to establish myself with a new primary care physician. And, you know, it went about as well as I expected. You know, I heard the stuff that I knew I was going to hear. And, you know, I have to make adjustments to that. I don't have to. I could very easily ignore all the advice that I was given, and I could continue to do whatever the hell I want. I'm not going to do that because, you know, I have a son that I care about and I would like to see grow into a man. And I'm not anxious to go, you know, cross the rainbow bridge at an early age. But, you know, one of the things they asked about was, do you smoke? And I was honest. I told him I smoke cigars. He didn't seem to have a problem with that. We talked about it a little bit. He didn't have a problem with it. I think, you know, now whether or not he is keenly aware of the differences between cigars and cigarettes, I don't know. But he didn't challenge me on it. I didn't get any sort of negative pushback or any sort of like comment or any sort of lecture or anything like that. That was it. Truthfully, he probably wasn't even going to, you know, it was on the questionnaire, the assistant guy who kind of checks you in and asks you all the questions on the questionnaire. He asked me about it. I was honest with him. He wrote it down. And then the doctor was going over all those notes. And I'm the one who actually, when he got down to that section, I was like, yes, and as you see, I do smoke cigar. I'm the one who brought it up to the doctor, you know? So, you know, you got to be honest with the doctors and tell them what's what so that they know. I mean, they can't help you if they don't know everything. But the point is, I brought it up. He didn't have a problem. And, you know, in terms of the government, they seem to have a problem with everything you do that they don't personally like. And I think it's bullshit, you know? I'm not a weed smoker. I don't like it. I don't want it done around me. It's just one of those things. However, Texas is either trying or has gotten rid of THC products or something. I don't know. I've tangentially seen a few things. Texas is going after weed. And with that being said, I don't like that either, you know? And for those of you who are saying, well, you know, Democrats, blah, blah, blah. Texas is a red state, you know? Texas is a red state. So you've got Democrats on one side that are they seem to be more for legalizing pot. You've got Republicans, obviously, who have issues with it. But at the same time, the Republicans are supposed to be all for smaller government, less obtrusive government, things of that nature. And yet they're coming after weed. Now, look, here's my thing. If you're going to come after weed, why don't you come after alcohol? Because alcohol, we all know alcohol does bad shit to us. Cigarettes, we all know. There's plenty of research out there about the dangers of smoking cigarettes over the course of your life. There's also tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of research talking about the dangers of alcohol consumption. Now, again, in all things moderation. You can have a limited amount and probably be okay. But there are plenty of people who take it to the extreme, go way too far. DUIs are a result. You have DUI deaths that happen. You have alcoholism. I mean, that's a real and present issue for a lot of people. And what's stopping them from going to the grocery store and buying a 12-pack or a bottle? Absolutely nothing. I mean, there's once they're of age, they're of age. It's no big deal. But yet, if you want to go to the dispensary and get weed, again, it's not my thing. I'm aware of it. You have to give up your driver's license and give them all your information and all this shit and everything. And that leads to all kinds of questions because, here in Illinois, we have the firearm owner identification card, the FOID card. And if you have a gun, you're registered with the state police and you have your little ID card. You have to have this ID card in order to have a gun, which, again, more government oversight, but be that as it may. At some point, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for our governor to cross-reference the list of everyone who's gone to a dispensary and bought pot and cross-reference it to the list of everybody who has a FOID card. And all of a sudden, if you have a FOID card and you've bought marijuana in the state of Illinois, they're going to come and take your guns because you can't be trusted with a gun if you're buying marijuana. I'm just waiting for that day, but that's neither here nor there. But it all comes down to government overreach. And the fact that they're now coming after, they're coming after the atmosphere. They're coming after the sky. They're coming after the outdoors. They don't, heaven forbid, you fire up that cigar outside and you let people in a 5-foot radius around you possibly smell the aroma of a cigar because, oh shit, man, you've just given them cancer or some bullshit like that. It's ridiculous. And yet, this is where we're at. You have an entire country, a country that is a major European player. It's a major world player. Hell, back in the olden days, it was a major colonizer, along with England and Spain and all that. I mean, shit, man, France was like one of the big boys back in the day. And then at some point, they started rolling over constantly. And once again, here we are. We have the health and family minister, telling us what is good for us or for them. I don't live in France, thankfully. But the point is you have the health and family minister telling them what's good for them, and they're losing the ability to smoke outside. Except for e-cigarettes, which I find that to be horribly ironic. Because the thing is, with e-cigarettes, cafe terraces will be excluded from the ban, which will also not extend to electronic cigarettes. We have so little data about what vaping does to us. And you can't tell me that inhaling into the lungs whatever chemicals they're putting in that juice and all that shit is remotely good for us. But yet, here we are. So, no, I just, it all comes down to live and let live. And we're not doing that. And on one side of the aisle, on the other side of the aisle, neither one of them are doing it. You have the left picking their choice, their issues and trying to legislate their way into their perfect utopia. And you have the right picking their issues and trying to legislate their way into their version of a perfect utopia. And we all just need to figure out a way to live and let live and get along, because nobody should have the ability to tell somebody else within reason what to do. If I want to go outside on my patio, well, And I don't know, maybe this ban doesn't allow that. But let's say I want to go to the park. Let's say I want to go to the park and have a cigar with my lunch. I should have the right to do so. I should not be told that I can't do that because my tax dollars go to that park. I don't know how it works in France. I assume it's that way. But here in the States, there are plenty of municipalities that have banned smoking in parks. And I should have the right to go to the park, have lunch, have my cigar, and go home. It's just the way it is. If I want to do that, I don't see why not. Anyway, that's my rant. It's ridiculous that we have to put up with this shit, but here we are. So, anyway, yeah, those are my rants. I hope I didn't lose everybody in the process. I get it. Oh, my cigar's kind of still going. It's pretty deep, but we might hit it with a little flame just to get it going. But anyway, let's do this now. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarillo manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. All right, so I actually have two things. So I have my King of the Hill run, which is still going. I'm now in season 9 of King of the Hill. Had no idea that went like 12 or 13 seasons. So it's taking me a little while, but I'm enjoying it. It's been funny. But so I am in King of the Hill still, TV wise. But I did listen to a podcast that is new to me that I think some people, hope maybe some of you find it interesting, maybe you don't. But for those of you who remember the app Vine, which was the video app, kind of a precursor to TikTok, it was little 6-second long videos. And I remember that. I never really used it. I saw videos on it, but I didn't like upload videos to it or anything like that. But I thought it was clever, and some of the things were pretty funny because you gotta really be smart in order to get a joke or something across in 6 seconds. But anyway, there's a podcast called Vine, 6 Seconds That Changed the World. And it's like 8 episodes, and I thought it was absolutely fascinating. It's all about the rise and fall of Vine and how basically Vine was in its beta form, and Twitter came along and bought it, and basically how Twitter completely mismanaged it. And if they would have properly managed it, it could be TikTok now, only American owned and American run versus Chinese owned and Chinese run. It also kind of gets into some of the personalities that came along on TikTok. Specifically, you have Logan and Jake Paul, and how they really built up a lot of their audience and following through Vine, and then spread out to other platforms when Vine was closing. And God, I hate the Pauls. They're utter douchebags, but that's neither here nor there too. But it was an interesting look at the rise and fall of an app, and kind of how it was mismanaged by Twitter, and how basically Twitter bought this thing, didn't really quite seem like they knew what to do with it, didn't put in enough money, didn't put enough support behind it. But it also showcased how some of the creators on there came along and got kind of greedy, and kind of that led to some of the demise as well. But it also showcased how Vine was really the thing that jump-started a lot of the video craze on social media that we deal with now. Instagram video, Snapchat, TikTok, all these things kind of like came along as a result of Vine. You had like autoplay on videos. That was not a thing until Vine. Like, Vine is the one who kind of started the, like, we'll play the video and then, we'll move on to the next one and the next one and that sort of thing. That wasn't a thing until they came along. The looping, where the video over and over and over and over. I mean, that wasn't a thing. I mean, there's so many things. And the 6 seconds, how they came up with that and why they came up with that, I thought that was an interesting component of it as well. So it was kind of an interesting little deep dive into an app that, for a brief period of time was a pretty big deal and just kind of like petered out just as quick and was gone. But I thought it was interesting. I thought it was worthwhile, and I enjoyed it. So maybe you guys will as well. Now let's go ahead and do this. It's time to fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so that you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars, can't clip our wings. All right, so today, let me bring up my notes. Today we're going to be talking about Malala. I practiced this name before I got on the show. I practiced this before I hit record. And for the life of me, I just, now that the camera's on, I can't do this. Malala Yousafzai. Malala Yousafzai was born in 1997 in the Swat Valley of Pakistan, a place that would become overrun by the Taliban, a group that banned girls from attending school. But Malala, a young teenager, refused to accept that. At age 11, Malala began writing an anonymous blog for the BBC under a pseudonym. She documented what life was like under Taliban rule, how girls were terrified, schools were being bombed, and children were being silenced. Her words were raw, brave, and powerful. Eventually, her identity became public. She started giving interviews and speaking out loudly for girls' education, but that came with danger. In 2012, when she was just 15, Malala was on a school bus when a Taliban gunman boarded the bus and shot her in the head. She nearly died, but she didn't. Malala was flown to the UK for emergency treatment, and after months of recovery, she came back stronger and even more determined. She became a global voice for girls' education, co-founding the Malala Fund, and speaking at the United Nations on her 16th birthday, saying, "One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world." In 2014, at age 17, Malala became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate in history. And today, her work continues around the world advocating for education access in regions affected by poverty, war, and discrimination. Malala changed the world, but not with power or wealth, but with a voice that refused to stay silent. So be like Malala Yousafzai and Blackbird Cigars, and don't let anybody clip your wings. Thought that was a very nice story, and so that's there's something for my French friends, for my French listeners. You guys, your government is telling you that you need to ban smoking, and by God, it's just bullshit, especially outside. Inside, that's a harder fight, because, again, I'm a courteous smoker, so, I think that restaurants should have the right and the ability to allow smoking inside, and I think it should be up to the patron to decide if they want to go to that restaurant knowing that there could be someone smoking in there. But it's where we're at. But yeah, outside legislation is just ridiculous. And France needs to stop it. The United States needs to stop it. We got so many fucking problems in the United States. You got so many different states and municipalities trying to pass smoking ordinances and bans and taxes and all kinds of other shit like that, and it's ridiculous, and I hate it. And yet every year we got to deal with it, which I guess this is a valid point. Guys, join Cigar Rights of America, join the CRA. I joined a little while back, and I get emails from them about different updates about things they're doing. But it adds your voice to the fight because they're out there, they're going to the governments, they're going to the legislators, and they're telling them, hey, you guys shouldn't do this. This is why, and they're lobbying on our behalf. And just like with all these other organizations, the big one that everybody refers to, and you know what? They did a really good job organizing, and they became a powerful political force, the NRA, National Rifle Association. It's the same concept. The more people that are members of the CRA, the more the politicians listen to those lobbyists because they know that there's a large contingent of voters that care about this issue. And so for those of you who are cigar smokers, it's not that much money. It's truly not. I think an annual membership is maybe like, I don't know. I didn't plan on bringing this up, but it's on their website. If you go to their website, just Google Cigar Rights of America, and find their website, and you'll find how to join. And it's not much. It's $30 maybe $30 to join for the year. I don't know, but do it. It helps so much to add your name to the registry and become part of the fight, because we constantly are on the defense. And we were all happy when the courts sided with us against the FDA, but yet every day there's another court battle, there's another fight that comes along, and every day we need to be vigilant and prepared. And so you guys gotta join up with the CRA and have your voice heard. Anyway, so this being Friday, normally I would be playing a Pinky Fun Fact. However, I ran out of those. So I need to get with Pinky and record a whole new batch of fun facts. So I do not have a fun fact for you today. I'm sorry. It's a sad Friday. No fun facts. But I do have my socials. I'm available on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit. I'm on Facebook, where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group. You can get in on the fun over there. Share your cigars, share, whatever. But it's also where I post a lot of updates about the show. So if, let's say, there's a delay, or let's say something like, I'm looking for topics or something like that, the Facebook Parishioners group is typically one of the first places that I will go to kind of put that information out there. Twitter/X. If you want to watch the show, it's on Rumble and YouTube. It's also on Spotify video. So if you use Spotify to listen to the show, you can use it to watch the show as well. It's just me sitting in my garage right now, so it's not super thrilling. But, you can watch it if you so choose. And then I do need your calls for the Ask the Pulpit episodes. That number for the hotline is area code 863-874-0000. That's area code 863-874-0000. And you can call. You can ask questions. You can leave comments. You can leave an opinion. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe we should be restricting outdoor smoking. Maybe you want to sit and fire up in front of a school. I'm going to question you on that, though. That one I will question you on that. But I call up. Give me your opinions on the news of the day or whatever. I mean, or just whatever. I mean, I just like interacting with you guys, and that's an easy way to do it, since I don't have like a live recording time to where somebody could call in live. It's a good way of doing that. But anyway, and then PulpitFest 2025. Guys, there are plenty of general admission tickets left available. $35 for the ticket. 30 of it comes back to you in in-store credit that you will use on your first purchase at the Ash and Ale in Palm Coast, Florida, which is the host lounge for PulpitFest. So basically, it's like $5, in the end. But not only do you get that $30 in-store credit on your first purchase, but you are going to get the goodie bag, which last year's goodie bag valued at over $200. This year's going to be great again. We've got Renee Castaneda and the crew from Villiger coming out to be on hand. We have Justo Roa and Tremac from Aladino that are coming out to be on hand. We're going to have all kinds of fun. Like last year, we had the longest ash contest, and that was a good time. We have games, we have fun, we have prizes. We're giving away 2 trips. We're raffling away 2 trips. One to the Puro Sabor Cigar Festival in Nicaragua, and one to the Aladino Farm in Honduras. Both of them are all expense paid, except the Puro Sabor. I think you have to buy your plane ticket, and you may have to buy your plane ticket for the Honduras farm tour. Those, yeah, you got to buy. I think you got to buy your transportation, but the rest of it's covered. And I mean, those are exclusive events. You get a ton of cigars. It's good times. So, these are events that you're going to want to go to, and you have the opportunity to literally win your way to them by attending PulpitFest. This is a big deal. So come on out, hang out with us. It's a good time. It's August 22nd through the 24th. We're going to have a fun time. The Ash and Ale is a wonderful place, super chill, great vibe. It's in this nice little courtyard of what they call the European Village. There's all these little places, restaurants and bars and everything in there. So you'll find all kinds of places to eat and drink, and it's a wonderful, wonderful time. You're going to enjoy it. It's half an hour south of St. Augustine, half an hour north of Daytona. So, there's plenty of really cool places to see in the area. There's great food all over the place. It's a fun time. You can fly into Jacksonville. It's an hour south of Jacksonville. Jacksonville Airport, really small and easy to get around in. Just come on out and hang out with us. And if you're from Florida, if you're one of my Florida listeners, and Florida is always in the top 5 of my states, per month with the podcast. So I know I have Florida listeners. For those of you in Florida, what are you waiting for? Get in on the fun. Go over to eventbrite.com and search for PulpitFest 2025. Go to cigarpulpit.com, and the first post on the website is the link to Eventbrite to get tickets. If you're in the parishioners group, one of the pinned posts at the top there is the link to Eventbrite to get tickets. My Instagram bio, there's a link to Eventbrite to get tickets. It's out there, guys. Get in on the fun. Come on out. Hang out with us. It's a good time. And, a lot of camaraderie is built with this. You got friends. You make friends from all over the country. And you build up your cigar network, and everybody has a good time. And it's fun. I like to bring the parishioners together for this. And we had a lot of fun last year. I know we're going to have a ton of fun this year. I want it to get bigger. I want it to be better. And so I want you all to come on out and party with us August 22nd through the 24th. Ash and Ale, Palm Coast, Florida. Come out to PulpitFest. Anyway, final thought on my Davidoff Nicaragua here. I'm about halfway through it. I've not dropped it yet, thankfully. And I've been talking a lot, so I've had to hit it with a little flame to get it right going. Great smoke production. Despite the fact that I've been talking and I've let it kind of get a little weak, the burn line on this thing is really, really good. The draw on it's been really nice. I mean, look, it's not a cheap date. I think these probably are about $30 cigars. But look, there's 2 Davidoffs that I will go for that hit my palate right. And the Davidoff Nicaragua and the Late Hour both do it for me. And so this one, I have no issue, recommending and saying how much I like this. A lot of Davidoffs tend to be a little too light for my palate. They tend to be a little, I'm not saying they're bad cigars. They're just not quite the strength level that I'm looking for. But I do really enjoy the Davidoff Nicaragua. And it's a good cigar, and I'm enjoying it right now. So, anyway, guys, thank you for indulging me tonight. Like I said, in June, I've got a couple of things scheduled out. I'm building out the calendar. June is going to be a very hectic month. due to the calendar and a couple of things, I'm very happy that I'm going to be spending quite a bit more time, with my son in the month of June. I have him quite a bit more in the summer when school's out, and so I'm really pleased about that. However, it does mean that getting the episodes done and recorded and put out and everything, I'm kind of scrambling in some cases, especially with the work that makes me my money with the newspaper and everything. So June is looking to be a very busy month for me, but it's okay. We're gonna figure it out and we're gonna get through it. But I'm building out the calendar now so that I have guests lined up and rocking and rolling. That way I have things planned out and prepped in advance so that I'm not scrambling at the last minute like this. So and ranting about the French. So anyway, I guess that's my way of saying thanks for putting up with this episode. Better things are coming in June. So hopefully I didn't bore you too much with my rant about France. And we'll go from there. So guys, thank you for indulging me tonight. This has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick. Everybody stay safe and stay smoky. Take care, everybody.